Hi everybody, Mark here with three tips that go hand in hand with each other. And the first one is about getting to know your players by having individual meetings with them. So what I usually do is I start with the new kids on the team and I have individual meetings with them on the side of the field for maybe 10 or 15 minutes and just ask them questions about their lives. What do they do for their hobbies? What do they do in the summer? What's their favorite class? Who are their friends? Who do they live with? You don't want to ask anything personal, but just show an interest in their lives and ask lots of questions. So one of the things is that some kids are shy and they don't know how to answer your questions. Some of them really don't have any adults that they talk to, depending on what their family environment is like. So they're not used to talking to adults. So the idea that goes hand in hand with this is I ask my kids a series of questions, some of the questions I just mentioned, and I have them write the answers in a notebook, and they hand it in those notebooks. And so then when it's time to meet with them individually, I read those questions over, or I read their answers over before I meet with them. And then I write myself some notes, some things I want to go deeper on. Like, let's say they saw Star Wars 6 is their favorite movie. And then I ask them, well, what do they think about Star Wars 5? And I ask them, maybe they said they live with they have 5 siblings and they're the only girl in the family. And I say, oh, well, what's that like to be the only girl in the family? Whatever it is, you could ask follow-up questions. And that way you come to the meeting prepared, and you're not putting the kids on the spot because they've already answered some of your questions. So I like to have the kids do journal writing before that meeting. And you can also use a journal later in the season for questions like, how do you feel the season's going? What can we do differently? What do you enjoy and not enjoy about being on the team? And I look for consensus in those kind of journal answers. If a bunch of kids say that they don't like such and such a drill, let's say half the kids say that, you should probably change that drill, or whatever it is. They want more time at the end of practice to walk to the cars, or whatever it is. If a lot of kids are mentioning the same thing, then it's probably something you should change. So journal writing is a great way to get feedback. And the kids don't mind doing it as long as it doesn't take too much time. You can even take up practice time to do it. So those two things, individual meetings and journal writing, go hand in hand. And then finally, you might ask, well, when do I have time to do individual meetings with the kids? Well, two things. First of all, use your assistant coach. Your assistant coach can certainly run the practice while you're having individual meetings. And also your assistant coach can do some of the individual meetings. You don't have to do all of them yourself. With 20 kids on the team, it can take a fair amount of time. But another thing that works really well is let the kids run the warm-up. And then during the warm-up, you pull one kid aside and you have your meeting with that player. So let's say the warm-up is 10 minutes, then you have time for a 10-minute meeting. You do this every day for in a couple weeks. You'll have all the kids will have gone through their individual meetings, and then let that kid go warm up for 5 minutes on their own, and then they're ready to join the team. So it's a great way to tie all three of these things together: the individual meetings, the journal writing, and letting the kids run their own warm-ups. Okay, that's all.